Nuke those rotten bastards!
Understood. Ready to charge.
What a sight. What a smell. Tyranid biocides down 90% and falling. Swarm annihilation confirmed. Excellent work. Move to extract.
Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you folks, I have a Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory video because I'm going to be taking some time and I'm going to be talking a little bit about Space Marine 2 and Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory. Going to give Purge the Swarm a little bit of a review, I guess maybe a pseudo preview if you will, as I'm going to discuss what you're getting for your money if you do decide to go out and buy this thing. Now, it is only available in PDF. It's not available for print, but it's not expensive either. It's actually only a couple bucks. Now, really quickly, because I'm sure there might be people that are going to tune into this that doesn't really know what Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory is. I get a lot of people that ask me questions about what it is. Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory is the tabletop role-playing game for Warhammer 40k, or at least it's one of them. There's 8 of them now to be exact, and this is one of the 8 that is still in print. There's actually only 2 currently in print per se, but that's what it is, and it's kind of a more action RPG focused on narrative and high-speed action over number crunching and being a simulator. Now, before I get into the video really quickly, I want to take a moment to thank my Patreon supporters. They're the ones that actually made this video happen. Because of their support, the channel has a little bit of a budget, and I was actually able to get the PDF Purge the Swarm for doing today's video. Also, really quick, I want to ask you, the viewer, to provide support for my channel. Like, comment, subscribe, subscriptions. That's all stuff that you can do for free that helps out my YouTube channel. Finally, for anyone who wants to provide additional support to my YouTube channel, there is a link down below in the video description for my Patreon. Go check it out. I tend to take time and post little snippets and things of that nature, give little channel updates, and give information out of projects I am working on. So that's a great way to kind of stay in the loop of what's going on with my YouTube channel. All right, so let's get into today's video, which is going to be focusing on kind of doing a pseudo review, preview, if you will, of Purge the Swarm, which is the newest PDF for Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory, and this is based on and inspired by Space Marine 2, which actually this is pretty good timing, as Space Marine 2 actually just got a major update yesterday that adds Dark Angel stuff to Space Marine 2, as well as they added a new mission and a new enemy type. Now, Purge the Swarm itself starts off with an overview of Kudaku, which is one of the planets that Space Marine 2 is set on. So this is actually the first time that the current edition of Wrath and Glory has actually gone outside of the Gilead system. So we're getting a little bit of a snippet of somewhere else in the universe of Warhammer 40k. Not saying that other people don't do stuff outside of the Gilead system. You easily can, but this takes it out of the Gilead system, officially, if you will. Now, the one thing I actually did enjoy as I'm going through the book and I'm reading over, they give a brief overview of Kudaku, what's its important resources, why is it important to the Imperium, what kind of a world it is, and actually the dangers that the world itself provides. There's actually quite a few dangers to the world itself. I don't know if it's quite a death world, but The vegetation is actually pretty dangerous for people in general. Probably not so much for Space Marines, but it will cause some difficulties, as well as traversing the swamps of the planet itself can cause quite a few difficulties just for maneuvering around. Now, one cool thing I took notice to also is that there is actually a short section in there about using Promethium as essentially a combustible source to do damage to enemies. And I think that's really cool because that is something that is highlighted in Space Marine 2, as actually that last mission there at the very beginning of the video was an end clip of a mission I'd done, which is Inferno, where you actually use Promethium to set enemy Tyranids on fire as they're coming into you. But a part of it is also kind of blowing up this area of raw Promethium with a bomb to wipe out the swarm. So I think that's really cool that they threw that Promethium, the rules for Promethium in there. And as I continued through the book, it also provided stats for Lieutenant Titus, Sergeant Gadriel, and Brother Charion. Now, with that being said, and I did notice some people pointed out that their stats seemed a little wonky for being tier 4 characters, but they are there. I think the big one I noticed was actually the influence seemed really low for tier 4 characters. But it's nice that it's got pre-made characters that you could actually use these three, one of these three characters for your campaign, or you could actually just create your own characters and run your own campaign using the rules within the book. I think that's really cool. And then, of course, obviously, you could have run-ins with these characters as NPCs. The book also provides 3 different missions, pre-made missions that you can have, as well as there's some snippets there and things of that nature that you can use to create your own missions. With that being said, if you're already initiated within Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory, you could easily create your own missions and like have a fully fleshed out campaign, or you could just, maybe create your own missions based off of what's in Space Marine 2. So you definitely got plenty there to work with, but it's nice that it's actually got pre-made missions for you to work with. There is also a new archetype in the book, and that is the Deathwatch Black Shield. Although, once again, and people were pointing this out in the Wrath and Glory Discord, and I noticed it right away too as I'm going through the information for the Deathwatch Black Shield, is that for some odd reason, one of the keywords still has your character, if you're playing a Deathwatch Black Shield, attached to a Space Marine chapter. I don't know if that's an error or if it's got something to do with how Space Marine 2's story rolls out. I'm not going to put too much out here for anyone who hasn't played Space Marine 2 yet. And if you haven't played Space Marine 2, you need to get it and play it. It's a great game. But for some odd reason, the Black Shield is still attached, per se, to a chapter. Black Shields are not. Black Shields are essentially what they are. Their chapter identity is completely removed from them while they're serving their penance in the Death Watch. So I'm not quite sure why that's there. I'm a little bit confused with that myself. So I will point that out, that I feel that might be, it may be a mistake, it may not be. It might have to do with the story of Space Marine 2. Now, the book, this is the first time where also for Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory, we are getting official stats for Tyranids. Finally, official stats. Now, it's only covering the Tyranids that's in Space Marine 2, stuff like the Warrior, the Termagants, Hormagaunts, the Raveners there. But the ones that, the Carnifex is also there as well, which was like, yeah, cool, Carnifex. Definitely need that. But the ones that really stood out to me as not being there is the Tyranid Hive Tyrant and the Neurothrope. Even though both of those are in Space Marine 2, For some odd reason, and maybe I overlooked them, but I did not see the Hive Tyrant, and I did not see the Neurothrope. Now, with that being said, we do have an unofficial source on the Doctors of Doom for this kind of thing, but I do want to point out that those aren't there. So for anyone that was hoping to open this book and have stats for a Hive Tyrant, hate to break it to you, no, you're going to have to download an unofficial supplement to supplement the Tyranids that's already there. Also, one thing I definitely want to point out too is that the book is very well bookmarked for a 33-page PDF. I think it was 33, maybe it was 35 pages. But it's very well bookmarked. It's easy to find anything and anything that I need in a quick, in a really quick manner. The different types of Tyranids, they all have their own bookmarks. The Black Shield has his bookmarks. The characters, everything, information, it's all there, well bookmarked. So I have to tip my hat off to Cubicle 7 for that. So with all that being said, for the price of a fin, literally $5, guys, $5 USD is what it costs. Yeah, I would say buy it and enjoy it. It's actually really good for only being a really short document. It does bring a lot to the table for Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory. And if you really want official stats for Tyranids, this is the only place you're going to get it. Anyway, folks, I am going to wrap up today's video at that. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have yourselves a wonderful day.